So in this video, I'm going to do my best to explain and show you how to make this 3D effect looking board. In this, you need cherry, walnut, and maple. I'm sure you could use other species. These are what I chose. You do what you want. But right now, I'm just cutting out cherry square sticks right now. Just cutting out squares. Now I just kept the same size of the cherry, just turned the blade 45 degrees, cut both the maple and the walnut. So once you have all your sticks cut out to the size and shapes and everything you want, then the best way to clamp them was just to tape them with a bunch of glue. I laid them down and poured glue on them, fold the walnut and maple up into like an L shape where the 45s meet, and then put more glue, put the cherry in, make it a bigger square pretty much is what you want. Start wrapping them up with tape. So after waiting about a day and the glue's dry, I'm taking the tape off now. After you take tape off of them, I clean them up with a chisel a little bit, and then I'm going to end up running them through my drum sander right behind me there. So like I said, here I am cleaning up the sticks with my chisel. Just taking off the extra glue that squeezed out. Make sure when you do this, be careful. You don't want to slip or take too big of a gouge out and mess something up. So now I'm just running them all through the drum sander like I said. This is the best way for me to do it. I didn't want to risk getting a lot of snipe on the planer or anything, so drum sander it was for me. I'm sure you could do it with a planer just fine if you don't have a drum sander accessible to you, but in my case, this is why I chose. Y'all choose what you want. This had the best outcome for me. After sending everything through the drum sander together and getting it all the same, nice and pretty, I'm going to do the second glue up now, and this is just a simple, normal glue up. For this glue up, I'm just trying to be as accurate as possible, so I put some sticks on either end, put some more clamps on. I put some in the middle as well. Just want to make this as tight and perfect of a glue up as you can. Make it easier for you in the long run. Make your pattern look better in the long run. Now we're going to get ready, and we're going to put this big thing through the drum sander and hope it turns out good, which it will, because it was me. I will say you won't want to take too much off on the walnut side, just because if you do, you're going to get those white streaks in it. So where those maple and walnut touch, and you don't really want that to happen. You don't want too much of it. But now here I am squaring up the side with the track saw just so I could start cutting more off on the table saw. Now, as you can see, I'm kind of struggling in this part. It's a pretty big piece of wood, and I'm trying to push it through the table saw by myself. The pusher thing, it wasn't working right now. Now it starts to work. I can actually get it to push through smooth, but this part I'd maybe recommend, if you're a little dude like me, to get some help for that first few cuts. From how much I use, I was fortunate and able to get 2 of the same size cutting boards out of how much I glued up. And now we're just doing the final glue up. Gotta make it look pretty. This one, again, be as accurate as you can with getting all the lines to match up. I thought I did pretty good. There's a few iffy ones here and there, but overall, it turned out pretty good. Back to the drum sander, and I would recommend a drum sander or a very high grit, or actually very low grit, sorry, on a belt sander or orbital. I wouldn't recommend at all sending an end grain cutting board through any planers. I'm sure a lot of you knew that already, but some people might not have. So now I'm just going to square up the long ends with the track saw again before I try to square up the shorter ends on the table saw. Now, this is one of my least favorite parts, is doing juice screws. This one just scares me more. You could really screw up the whole deal with one mess up on this part of the process. So this part, I definitely recommend being careful, double check everything, make sure all your sides for your routing jig is screwed down or tightened, however you do it. This one, I did it in 2 passes. Wish I would have done 3 passes instead, but it is what it is. Now I'm going to route all the edges. I'm doing the bottom first with just a round over bit, and I know I need a new round over bit. This one's a little worn out, but it'll be fine. I'll fix it in sanding. Now to route the top of the cutting boards, I use a bevel. You can set it to whatever depth you want. I do the bevel just because I think it looks neater, looks sharper. I think it looks nice in general, but you do you. Now for sanding, you also do whatever you want. I recommend sanding it up to 320, 500, around that, with water to raise the grain in between each grit. I think I stopped at around 320 for these. These are then finished. I think they turned out pretty good. This was my first attempt at doing this pattern, and I hope that I explained it enough to help you. It really wasn't that hard, just kind of a 45 and then gluing it all up together. Thank you for watching.